You ever try to explain why you absolutely love a song and the words just fail you? You end up saying things like, "Oh, it just has this vibe," or "I don't know, the beat is just awesome." But you know you're not even scratching the surface of what makes it so special. Well, you're not alone. It's something we all struggle with. And in this explainer, we're going to try to decode the really complex and honestly, sometimes contradictory ways we talk about music.
This quote right here, you've probably heard it before, attributed to a bunch of different people. It just hits the nail on the head. Music feels so personal, so emotional, it's almost impossible to pin down with words. Trying to do it feels clumsy, right? It's like trying to describe the beauty of a skyscraper by doing a pirouette. It just doesn't quite translate.
But here's the thing. We do talk about it. Constantly. You've got academics writing entire books on a single album. You have music supervisors for huge ad campaigns who have to find the perfect song based on just a few descriptive words. So there has to be a way. How do we actually bridge that huge gap between a feeling and the language we use to describe it?
Okay, so let's start in one corner of this world, academia. For musicologists, for analysts, the way they tackle this whole subjectivity problem is with a ton of objective detail. They approach a song kind of like a text that needs to be deconstructed, and they're looking for meaning in every single note, every chord, every rhythm.
And what's really crucial here is that the musical text they're looking at isn't just the sheet music you'd buy in a store. Not at all. That's just the blueprint. The real song, the one that's full of meaning, is what happens when an artist takes that blueprint and brings it to life.
And you can really see it here. This is so fascinating. On the left, that's the simple written down melody for a song. But on the right, that's a transcription of what an artist like Aretha Franklin or Otis Redding actually did. Just look at all those little extra notes, the timing shifts, those incredible vocal runs. That is where the magic happens. It's in all those one-of-a-kind details of the performance that you could never capture on a simple piece of paper.
All right, now let's do a complete 180 and jump into a totally different world with a completely different goal, the commercial music industry. In this world, the search for meaning isn't about deep academic analysis. It's all about, well, function. Does it work?
And this right here really puts that shift in perspective into sharp focus. You see, an academic might spend weeks analyzing a 3-minute song to uncover its hidden structure and cultural weight, but a music supervisor, they might listen to 100 3-minute songs just to find that one perfect 30-second clip that's going to help sell a car. The whole question changes from "what is this?" to "what does this do?"
So of course the language they use has to change too. Instead of talking about things like harmonic progressions or whatever, the industry uses a vocabulary that's all about feeling, mood, and atmosphere. Words like dramatic, dreamy, upbeat, and passionate, those become the key words you use to find the right track. It's a language built entirely for getting a job done.
And this is what that language looks like when you put it into practice. This is called a brief, and it's basically the instruction manual for a music search. And notice, it's all about what the music needs to do. It has to feel upbeat and quirky. It needs to have a build to create some tension. And its specific function is to clash in an interesting way with the visuals. It's all about the context.
So what we have here are two completely different worlds, right? We've got the analyst's world of super detailed texts, and we've got the professional's world of functional moods. How in the world can they both be talking about the same thing? And why does it feel like they're speaking different languages? Well, it's because they are, and there's a new framework that makes sense of all of it. The big idea is something called interpretive repertoires. Now, I know that sounds a little stuffy and academic, but stick with me because it's actually really simple. Just think of them as 4 different languages we all use to talk about music. And each language has its own vocabulary, its own priorities, and this is the secret to decoding pretty much any conversation you'll ever have about music.
So here they are, the 4 languages. Let's just break them down real quick. First, you've got the musical repertoire. This is when we talk about a song as a thing you can identify, by its artist, title, or genre. Then there's the business repertoire. Here, music is all about money. It's a commercial product. We're talking brands, licenses, catalogs. Third is the soundtrack repertoire. That's the language we just saw from the music supervisors, describing music by its mood and how it functions, using words like uplifting or quirky. And finally, we have the cultural repertoire. This is probably the one we use the most. It's our personal, subjective language, when we just say we like a song because it's familiar or it just connects with us. So here's the big aha moment. These views aren't fighting with each other. They're just different languages for talking about the same thing. The academic who's analyzing Aretha Franklin, they're speaking the musical language. The ad exec looking for something quirky,
That's the soundtrack language. The lawyer negotiating the rights is speaking business. And when you're just enjoying a song on your headphones, you're using the cultural language. They're just different tools for different jobs, and once you see it this way, the whole music world starts to make a lot more sense.
And understanding this framework doesn't just help us make sense of the music industry. It helps us understand our own relationship with music. It gives us the tools to kind of decode our own conversations and even our own thoughts.
So think about it for a second. When you talk about music with your friends, what's your default setting? Your go-to language? Do you usually talk about artists and genres? That's the musical language. Or do you talk about how a song made you feel during a movie? That's soundtrack. Or is it really all just about your personal taste, the cultural language? Just recognizing which one you use most is the first step to really understanding how you make meaning from sound.
So the next time you're kind of stuck, struggling to explain why you love a song, just try switching languages. Maybe it's not just the vibe, that's the cultural way of talking. Maybe it's the way the song builds, which is the soundtrack way. Or maybe it's the specific instrumental, which is the musical way. Once you know these 4 languages, I promise, you'll never be at a loss for words again. So, what's your favorite way to describe music? Let us know what you discover in the comments.